Welcome back to the Anthony Lee Crypto channel. Guys, today we're going to dive into the altcoins. What I want to do is encourage you to take a look at this altcoin with an open mind, okay? I know what you want to hear. Everybody wants to hear that their coin is going to 50x, 100x. I get it. I want to hear that too, okay? But listen to me. I've been through 3 bull markets and I'm now in my 3rd bear market, okay? And I'm not saying I'm always correct, okay? But I know how these things go, okay? We're going to look at the coin from a technical standpoint. How many of you a few weeks ago, as your coin was going up 60, 70, 100%, was listening to the influencers telling you this time is different, super cycle, Bitcoin dominance is headed down, alt season is here, blah, 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 blah. And today your coin is probably down 50%, okay? Don't listen to the noise, okay? We're going to look from a technical standpoint, okay? I don't know about your fundamentals of your coin. I don't know any of that kind of stuff. We can't predict what may happen later, what partnerships may come in, what scandals may come up. We can't predict those types of things, but what we can predict and know for a fact are things like tokenomics, circulating supply, technical analysis. Those things don't change. So we can look at it from a technical standpoint and take a realistic approach to what this coin might do. If anything comes later, like some sort of hopium or some sort of deal or some sort of thing like that in the economy with your coin, where it gets worldwide mass adoption, great, that's a bonus. But be prepared for less, okay? Or be prepared for a more realistic target. The biggest mistake I made in my first cycle was listening to everyone else who said that my coin was going to 50, 60x. And as I sat here and watched it 10 and 15x, which was great, I didn't take profit because I was waiting on that 50x because I believed the narrative. And I wound up writing that coin all the way back down and round tripping it, right? I learned from that mistake. If you're not at least open-minded to hearing what a conservative approach would be, then you're only showing your inexperience in this market. So don't be inexperienced. If you are inexperienced, at least try to learn, okay? If I think your coin's going to 100x, I'm going to tell you that. If I think it's going to 5x, I'm going to tell you that. If I think it's going to 0, I'm going to tell you that. I'm going to keep it real with you. I know I could get way more clicks by just coming in and shouting 100x, but that's not going to serve you anything good in the future. So let's take a realistic approach to these coins, and we'll see if we can figure out where a good bull market top is going to be. Let's take a look at the charts. Here we go. Taking a look at Avalanche, AVAX, here on the Binance weekly charts. Guys, I've gone through on AVAX and I've marked out your market cap, your token supply, price, all that kind of good stuff, and we're going to see what we can find. So AVAX set an all-time high price here of $151 in November of 2021. At that time, your market cap was 30.2 billion with a circulating supply or number of coins on the market of 220 million, okay? Fast forward just a few years into the most recent bull cycle, and you set a cycle high in March of 2024 of $65. So less than half of your previous price all-time high. Why? What happened? What happened there? Well, first of all, it underperformed massively for market cap. Your $30 billion market cap in 21 was only a 22.9, call it $23 billion market cap. So you actually did about 30% less in market cap. So you had about 30% less come into this coin than you did in the previous cycle. Even with that, you still had an increased circulating supply from 220 million to 377 million. So almost double the amount of coins on the market, which added to the dilution of price. So currently, let's fast forward to today. You have a price of $6.83 with a $3 billion market cap and 431 million coins. You have double the amount of coins you had at price all-time high. So for at current circulating supply, in order for price to reach all-time high, you would have to double your highest market cap. You'd have to go to a $60 billion market cap. And in the last cycle, you only went to a $23 billion. So very, very, very unlikely that you ever reach a price of $151 again. Again, you would have to go to a $60 billion market cap, which would be a 20x from current market cap, right? with the tokens being added to the markets, looking forward at the projected next cycle high of Q4 of 2029. Now, this could be a little bit different if we top before or after, but it's going to be pretty close. You're going to have a circulating supply of 550 million coins. That is 2.5 times more than you had back in November of 2021. 550 million is 2.5 times more than 220. Therefore, AVAX will have to do a 2.5x your previous market cap all-time high to reach $151. You have to do, again, over a $60 billion market cap. That's just not going to happen, guys. If you reach your market cap all-time high of $30 billion, if you should happen to return to this all-time high market cap, which you could not do last cycle, but if you should happen to, price will only be $60 compared to $151 at all-time high. That is the cost of dilution and tokens added to the market. I'll tell you one really negative thing for AVAX here is you have now, with this latest push to the downside in the last few days, you have taken out your previous macro or bear market low. So what you've actually done is flipped on a major macro time frame bearish. So with that, I would expect continued lower highs and lower lows, just like this. You know the drill, just like this, okay? You're now macro bearish. I mean, you're like major macro bearish. You're not just macro bearish in this leg. You're macro bearish for the life of the coin now. You have flipped your entire life of the coin cycle to bearish by taking out the previous bear market lows. So how can we figure out a price prediction for this? Well, it's simple. Again, if you were to go your market cap all-time high, that's $60. However, I don't even think you get there now that you flip this to bearish. That is huge. What you can do, since you have token dilution, you cannot draw a fib on this because you don't have the same number of tokens. Remember, you're going to have 2.5 times more tokens on the market, so you can't fib this. It's not relative. You can only fib it if the tokens were approximately the same. However, one thing that you can fib is market cap. And now that you have a bearish sentiment or a bearish structure, you can throw a fib on your market cap from all-time high market cap, and let's just throw it down to current lows. It's not going to make much of a difference if you were to come significantly lower. You can see it barely affects market price, and we can fib this, and we can look for possibly best case scenario, in my opinion, would be a golden pocket retrace to the 618. That's on market cap, not price, before headed down, and that'll give you about a $22 billion market cap. And if we go back and $22 billion divided by your circulating supply at the time, which is 550 million, that is going to give you a new target price of $40. And when I throw on a value area range from this entire, all the way back to January of 2021, I throw on the volume profile, that is actually coming in right at your value area high. That'll give you a $22 billion market cap, which falls in line with your series of lower highs and lower lows. And it is extremely good confluence with value area high. I think it's a good target. $40 from current price at about $7. You're looking at about a 5.5x. But if we do go a little bit lower, say we come down to about $4, you could be looking at a 10x coin from here, in my opinion. Maybe not the greatest, but not terrible. Not terrible. I mean, if you get a 5-6x from here, that's a pretty solid return on your investment. But I do think we go a little bit lower. We have flip structure bearish, and I do think we head a little bit lower in the fall. You could get a shot at this $4 or so, coming into this range right here, finding a little support. $4 AVAX, and I would look for a 10x on your return. Guys, if you enjoyed this content, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be doing AVAX and other altcoin updates regularly. Comment your altcoin. If you want me to take a look at yours, I'll be happy to do tokenomics on that and give you a way too soon bull run price prediction. I'll see you guys next time.